So when we truly take care of ourselves, when we meet our essential needs and we become fully present, we bring a quality of grace and compassion into every interaction.
Yeah,
which leads us
great.
to the third element, and that's a hybrid of active listening and empathy. So for me, if these two had a child, it would be this element.
Oh, I love that.
And it's all in, where we listen with every fiber of our being, with every source we have available through our intuition, our eyes, our ears, to things that are beyond words. And the Urban Dictionary defines this type of listening as quantum listening.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful.
And so when we listen on this deeper level, we often gain insights to how we might be helpful to another. And the Dalai Lama shares that our prime purpose in this life is to be there for others. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's great.
And so with these insights, we almost always will find some way we can be helpful, which kind of segues us into the fourth element, which I call the secret sauce. And that's inspired action. You know, when somebody reveals to you a way that you might be helpful to them, we all have access to resources that can be of enormous value to another. Maybe we can make a phone call in their behalf. Maybe we can make an introduction to an employer or to someone else that would be a valuable resource. And just imagine how good that would feel if somebody did that for you, no strings attached. Just from a space of generosity, they're offering a helping hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And all of this ties together with the fifth element, which is the feedback loop. And what I mean by that is you let the person know that you've taken inspired action on their behalf. Again, no strings attached. I imagine we've all been in situations also where we felt really connected with a person. They're nodding their head. We feel like, oh, I've been heard. I've been heard. You like filleted yourself out in front of them. They've gotten some insights on how they can be helpful. And you think, oh, this is great. And you never hear back. You don't know what happened. It's fallen off into the abyss, and that falls short. So as these 5 elements are repeated, it really embeds integrity and confidence within relationships. So the next time you engage with that person, you're a little more relaxed. You're maybe a little more vulnerable. You have a little more confidence. So imagine that cycling again and again, whether it be in the workplace or in a family situation, with your child or with your partner. Yeah.
These are beautiful. So I've got an observation and I have a question.
Okay.
So my observation was, I think what makes it soulful is there is so much. I'm even noticing I'm talking a little bit like softer. I've got a little more of my channeling my therapist voice in this a little bit more, but there's a little more of a full body connection in this experience. It's not just your head and your brain. It's your heart, it's your body. I mean, there's a lot more that's coming into play with what you're recommending. So that's what my observation. Here's my question. Okay, Terri.
Yes.
So inspired action. I love there's so many things we can be doing for another person. So many things. Sometimes they ask for it. Sometimes they don't ask for it. So many things we can do. What about just being quiet with them and not saying or doing anything? Does that count as inspired action if that's what they need in the moment? I'd be curious.
I have chills up and down right now. Yes, that is what I would describe as holding the space for another. And when you hold the space and you enter into a conversation from a position of curiosity and wonderment, as opposed to playing out both sides of a conversation before you even enter it. Oh, he'll say this, I'll say that, it's going to end like this, which never turns out well. So sometimes when you are in a conversation and do just what you said, you just are there, you hold the space, you're fully paying attention, you're listening with every fiber of your being. What can happen in that situation is, from my experience, it can open up the space for possibilities and for a person to kind of, tap into their inner knowing and listen to themselves in your presence. So yes, it really can be.
I love that. I think it's hard to do because I think so much of us were trained, whether we're male or female, to say the right thing, do the right thing, and just embracing silence. It made me think of a funny story from my past. I'm going way back in time now. I'm in 7th grade, okay? I'm in this class, and it was kind of it was an eclectic class of eclectic characters, some all kind of intellectually curious kind of people, and there was this amazing teacher. And every once in a while, someone would get in trouble. They would get a little bit, mouth off in the class, get a little aggressive, just be a little rowdy, and the teacher would take them out in the hallway, and then within about 5 minutes, the student would come back in and sit down, quiet, as if completely turned around. And I always wondered what was going on in that hallway. Well, one day I became one of those students. And she took me out in the hallway, and she just sat there quietly and just didn't say a word, just sat there with me. And I think maybe she asked me one question perhaps, but there was no lecture, she wasn't berating me, she just sat, it was just a quiet presence. And whatever was in me that was agitated just went away, and I went back in the classroom and sat down.